Hello YouTube, it's Mos7Wan7ed here, and I'm just going to do like an overview episode that let lets people know, if you haven't been watching the series, um, what's what's my goal, what I'm doing, how my base is set up, and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's my second series, and this series I focused early on. I'm focused away from Greg Tech, even though Greg Tech is a pretty big part of the setup. My first series, I don't think I ever got around to doing armor, although I haven't really finished the series. I haven't made any of those cool suits, but I did this time around, so I got really cool armor suit going on. Put my guys in here. So I don't have one of these guys, which will allow me to see the auras, because you need thermal Thumbcraft in order to build that guy. I haven't done a flight control, haven't done night vision, but my helmet here, I've got an elite battery. I kept the elite battery small to keep the weight down, because the weight goes up as you increase the size of the battery. I've got the auto feeder in. I've heard that's a bad idea, but for me it's actually worked pretty good. I haven't worried about my health. What little damage leaks through, and the food, makes up for it. It does overeat slightly, depending on what you have in your inventory, but I noticed if you put bread, it's not such a big deal, which is why I've got a pretty decent sized manual wheat farm going here. It grows 24/7 with my wrath lamps. So that's been working out for me. I just recently had made use of the water electrolyzer. When you run out of air, it'll use just a little bit of your stored energy to create some breathable air for you. And it worked pretty good. It was no drama. Didn't even barely, it went from 0 bubbles to full bubbles right away. It didn't take any damage or anything like that. No hits to my damage. Most pieces of my armor, if I've got the option of energy shield, then I've added it and I've maxed it out. Let me quickly change my GUI real quick so you can see this a little bit better. Okay. So I've usually just maxed these guys out. 6 points of defense, which is what you get, I think, from diamonds, and then energy per damage, 500 joules. I didn't go for the basic or the advanced plating because that adds a lot of weight. I haven't done any cosmetic, but I definitely plan on doing some cosmetic, at least custom color, because there's, I think, 2 or 3 other people that have this set of armor, so I'd like to make mine look a little different. Active camouflage, emitting a hologram of your surroundings, make yourself almost imperceivable. That's kind of cool. I haven't done that yet though. Energy shield again, 6 points of defense for your breastplate. 1 megajoule for an elite battery that's installed. I've got the jetpack maxed out. I didn't bother with the parachute or the glider. Although, as a side note, I also put in my helmet, I put the solar generator. So I have an elite battery and a solar generator. The legs, I also went with regen in the form of the kinetic. Here it is, the kinetic generator, and roughly a 1K elite battery, or 1 MJ elite battery. I have never, with these 2 guys, with the kinetic generator and the solar generator, I have never had to charge any of my equipment. With those 2 combos and not going crazy with the amount of energy I try to store in the suit, it works pretty well. I'm happy with it. So I've got the elite battery and the kinetic generator in my leggings. Another energy shield maxed out. I'm pretty sure I did the uphill assist. That's really nice. say I've got a big hill I need to go up or something like that, I just continue moving forward. And it just like the Thumbcraft boots, I forget exactly what they're called, without needing to do the Thumbcraft. Boots of the Traveler, I think is what it's called. So, yeah, you don't need Boots of the Traveler when you've got uphill assist. I think it's the uphill assist. Yeah, so definitely nice. I did not install the swim boots or swim boost. I don't do that much swimming. And because I've got this guy right here, the water lecture, I don't have to worry about drowning, so it's not that really big a deal for me. Jump assist, I went ahead and added that. So I've got 200% jump. I jump twice as high as normal. I could potentially set it up higher, but with the uphill step assist, I really don't need to jump. And to jump higher really doesn't help me that much. So I'll just end up over jumping most of the time. I did do a sprint assist, 150% times walking speed and 200% sprint speed. So lots of, it's definitely faster. It's not stupid fast. I could make it stupid fast, but then it's just going to make it more difficult for me to manage moving around. So yeah. Alright, and on that one I had the shield to max. Boots energy shield set to max. The battery set to roughly 1K. I didn't bother with the jet boots since I have the jetpack. I don't know if they work in combination with each other or not. I went ahead with the shock absorber because with the jetpack you're going to be going up and down. And since I didn't do the parachute or anything like that, I figured I probably need the shock absorber. And then my power tool. I did not do the plasma cannon. It looks cool and everything, but you're going to get more power from the railgun than you will the plasma cannon. And the plasma cannon, if you're not careful, you can blow up machines and stuff if you're firing at your base. You can use it to blow up some blocks, but most of the blocks get destroyed in the process anyway, so I can't figure a decent use. I've tweaked the railgun to kill creepers in one blow. Skeletons go in one blow. The zombies take 2. So I didn't go crazy with maxing out the railgun. It's got a crazy kick, and I think the kick goes up the more you turn it up. Didn't bother with the in-place assembler. Didn't bother with the blink drive. But it would be kind of cool to add. I just haven't added it. Diamond drill, so I can use my tool to break obsidian. I did do the aqua affinity. So I harvest full speed underwater. I've got the shovel maxed, although I'll probably turn it back down again. When it's set to maxed, it mines like a diamond drill mines, just a little bit over on the overkill. But if you need to move a lot of dirt, it's nice to have. So pickaxe I've got maxed out, and the axe I've got maxed out. Another elite battery, but I've put this guy to 2 MJ. So I figured the tool's going to eat a lot, and it brings my entire suit when I switch to the tool to 6 MJ. So right now I'm not totally maxed out, but it's not light outside. I'm not outdoors. I'm not moving around. So yeah. And even though if I spend a lot of time in caves, the energy will go down, but it won't go down to an extreme amount, even if I'm under a lot of fire. Just for the kinetic generator. Like I said, I haven't had to come back out here, back to base to recharge my suit at all, and I haven't died since I've put the suit together. And then we've got the cosmetic again. So I'm going to do the cosmetic on pretty much all my tools. I just haven't figured the kind of color I want to have, or exactly how the module is made or how it works. Hologram emitter. Okay. Yeah, custom color requires a hologram emitter. So that's the armor. This was kind of a late advance. I kind of got this guy a little bit on the late side. Assembly table with lasers, just because it took me a while to build my mining machine. I didn't do quarries at all this gameplay, so it was all manual mining until I built my mining machine, which is pretty crazy mining machine. The output's pretty nice. It's 196 block breakers that break every 2 seconds, so pretty nice. Actually, I think it's every 4 seconds. So it's 196 every 4 seconds, or you divide that by 4 to figure out how many per second. It's sitting at the diamond level. So my problem with that was at the diamond level you don't get copper and you don't get tin. So I've got a industrial centrifuge that's pulling lava from an ender tank. Of course, the other end of this ender tank is in the nether. Just a quick hop over there. And here it is. Just real simple. I've got a pump and a magnetic engine, which makes the most sense. I wouldn't have to try and put 4 redstone engines. I could just use a magnetic engine. It uses the lava straight out of what's being pumped out. Just a quick small 2 radius chunk loader to keep it loaded. And that's pretty much that. I might have to move it here in a couple of days because the lava level is getting pretty low. Because I could show you the mining machine. Alright, there's the mining machine. This is the back end of it. The business end, like I said, are going to be 196 block breakers that are facing forward in the direction I'm looking. And then we've got frames with redstone pipes in them that are directly behind every one of those block breakers. And it's just making a rather large tunnel. It of course misses stuff that's outside of the range, but it picks up enough. I've got 2 frame motors here that are moving the machine. There's the Bluetricity battery that's supplying the frame motors, and then it's getting a redstone signal directly from the frame and the redstone tubes, sorry. And then everything that comes out of the block breakers is going directly into a item tesseract, which is heading back to base. You saw the item tesseract just a second ago. And the pulses are being taken care of just by a regular timer. I didn't want to go crazy with it. It's set for 3 seconds. Could potentially be faster, but it doesn't really help the output all that much, and it would just bleed more Bluetricity energy. Wireless transmitter there is set up to a wireless receiver, which allows me at base to turn the machine on and off. There's your chunk loader to keep the entire area loaded so I don't lose the machine when it crosses chunk levels, or that it doesn't just shut off when I'm not there. Here is a ender chest with batteries, and the retriever and the filter are pulling stuff out and putting stuff back in the Bluetricity battery box. So the filter is set up and configured just to pull full batteries, and the retriever set up to pull empty batteries out of the battery box, and it's all being sent and pulled from this ender chest here. So that's pretty much the mining machine. That's just a regular portal right there, just to get me here from my Mystcraft book location. And I've got a Mystcraft book set up to take me back to my house. Here is the wireless transmitter that can turn on and off the machine just through that timer. And this is the overworld version of the setup. oops, I've got 9 panels upstairs, and the power is coming down into the bat box. Of course, it's at night right now, so it's not charging. But I've got enough fresh batteries sitting in there right now to make it through a night cycle, a rain cycle. Really haven't had any problem with the electricity. And here's a better look of the setup. The only difference between this setup and the other setup in the mining age is here it's configured to pull stuff in and out of the top, and the machine is set up and configured pretty much the same way to pull stuff out of the bottom. But so here's our chests. If we had an empty battery in here on the pulse, the filter would pull it out and it would come around and get pushed into the top of the battery box, because that's the only place it can go. And then as soon as the battery box filled it to full, then the retriever would be available to pull it out of the battery box, because that's what retrievers can do. They act like filters, but they're more remote filters that don't have to be directly attached. They can access the storage of anything along the tube network. Since the chest is not on this side of the tube network and the filter's in between it, they can't see it. But it'll pull a charged battery straight out of the battery box and stick it into the ender chest. So that's how we're recirculating electricity batteries. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a enchantment table with enough bookshelves to get to level 30, and an anvil to, when you come across enchanted books, you can enchant stuff. This is a pulverizer and powered furnace. It's powered by a energy conduit that's hooked up in between. And then I've got I could probably show you from below. Here it is from below. This is the pulverizer. It's set up to output into a chest below it. And relays act like chests, so when the pulverizer pulverizes something, it sticks it into the relay instantly pushes it out into the tube network. Unless the output on the other machine is empty, then it'll store it in the relay until there's an open slot. And then it'll push it into this powered furnace. And then the powered furnace will run that and push it into a chest. I've got some ingots here I turned from one type to another just to so it would mesh with what I already have. I'll just put it in there temporarily. But also I can manually put in up to 4 more stacks into the pulverizer or potentially the furnace. So I've got access to, move to process completely raw ores, or I'm mainly using it for wheat. If you put in wheat, let me show you. That's an abandoned mine shaft that I mine every now and again. And I'm currently rendering, and I think there's also a little bit of server lag, so portals are going to be a pain in the butt for me. That's why I'm trying to avoid them. Alright, so let's grab a piece of wheat here. So we'll put... Come on now, let me through. Thank you. Put the wheat up here. It'll get sent down, pulverized, and it'll be pushed in here. And you won't see it in here because I don't have the rendering, but it's about to get sent over here, and then here's the bread. So for one piece of bread, one piece of wheat, you can get 1 loaf of bread, and of course the bread I think does 2 food points, I think maybe 3 food points. No, I think it's just 2. So you're going to get double, I think actually triple the food value if you pulverize or macerate your wheat first. So you don't have to do 3 pieces of wheat and craft it into 1 bread. You can pulverize 1 wheat and get 1 bread. So that's what I'm mainly using the setup for right now. But every now and again, just see if I get some meat or something, mainly for food. I haven't bothered to process any ores because when ores and stuff come across, they go into my ME network. Here are my ME storage drives. Looks like one's full right now, and it's probably full because my machine bugged somewhere along the way. So in doing that, I've been thinking about changing the way it's set up, but right now it's set up to do is this gate will look at the inventory and send a redstone signal when it's empty. That will tell the export bus, both export buses, to put something into the machine. And that something's going to be either silver, lead, iron, or gold. And the reason I did this is because if I don't have a redstone signal, then it'll just throw as many silver into it until there's no lead, or until there's no silver, then it'll do lead, until there's no lead, and then it'll do iron, until there's no iron, and then it'll do gold until there's no gold. I'd rather try this. With this configuration, I could give a priority to certain materials. I could say don't do gold at all unless there's nothing else. There's no silver, there's no lead, and there's no iron, then do gold. Because what I'd like to do is, of course, I'd like to triple the output of gold. And that'll allow me, I can convert gold into iron, or up convert it to diamond. I can down convert gold all the way down to, clay or something along those lines if I had to. So that's why I've got that configured. This one's configured pretty much the same. It's set up to do tungsten, galena, bauxite, and Mos7Wan7ed's, or whatever you want to call it. And then the furnace down here is configured to do aluminum and cinnabar. So when any of those guys come through the pipe, then they'll get processed by these three machines. I've spent a lot of time and a little bit of efforts trying to make sure that I don't have a lot of random connections on my conduit network. By the fact that I have three machines hooked to one section of a conduit network, the draw of the conduit network is less, so I lose less power. The way conduits work is you can have point A to point B, you're going to lose 5% of your output, but the distance could be virtually unlimited. Whereas pipes, you can have as many connections, regardless of how many connections, the drop is based on the distance. So my distances are pretty large, even for gold network, gold pipes. My distances are pretty large, so I wouldn't want to try and do a lot of gold pipes. They would just eventually start breaking all over the place, because I don't have a finite control over all my machines. I just send power through conduits, and conduits fill just like pipes. When the conduit's full, it just stops sending power. Nothing blows up or anything. So I've tried to reduce the amount of loss, because like I said, point A to point B, you're going to lose 5%. But if you have multiple points between point A and point B, you're going to lose 5% for every connection, unless you have multiple connections on a signal segment. Then you don't lose that extra power. So that's why you see these two machines slapped next to each other. There's a conduit in the middle sharing the same conduit section. I couldn't really do much about this, and I'm actually thinking about getting this into a pipe. Just do a gold pipe, and then set up a redstone energy cell to key off of the assembly table. If the assembly table has work to do, then it'll turn on the energy cell. The energy cell will run some gold pipes. I just haven't got around to do that yet. And then this is the same idea here. We've got a single conduit, and of course, anytime I need to make an energy cell or a tesseract or anything along those lines, I'm going to be using these guys. Throw in ender pearls or redstone to get liquid, and then over here I could get the liquid into the cell. I've been mining oil, using that for my MJ power source, converting it into fuel and fueling those 4 combustion engines. I don't always have all the combustion engines on. What I'll normally do is I'll turn just 2 of them on and see what the energy cell's at every once and again. And if the energy cell is fully charged, I'll knock a combustion engine off, and then run it on 2 until it gets low, and then I'll turn maybe 1 or 2 on, depending on how low it is, to get all 4 of them running. But right now I'm kind of more in a charge mode, so I've got 3 of them running. a slow charge. I'd love to set up some gates to automate that a little bit. I'm not quite sure exactly how I would automate that right now, so I haven't done it yet. There's a compressor here, and I have a couple other machines that are tucked away. I've got a bending machine here, extractor, and geothermal generator. I've got the wiring and everything to hook it up. I don't use it often enough to bother, and I've been thinking about adding some more GregTech industrial centrifuges and some of the other devices that they have, because there's a couple cool ways of generating EU. If I threw bauxite dust and some other stuff in some of these machines, I could get compressed cells and hydrogen cells, and I think I could make diesel or some other types of fuel that I could power EU off of. So I've kind of been thinking about that, but I haven't been doing it. I've been playing mainly with Twilight Forest. Here's my Twilight Forest portal right here. Just an array of saplings or wheat or flowers or anything like that in a 2x2x1 pool, and you just throw a diamond in, you get this cool portal. I think I was the first one on the server to visit, and everyone else got disconnected when I jumped in. Everyone but me got disconnected, which is kind of funny, but which kind of meant that I was probably the first one, because there's a bug when it renders the Twilight, everyone gets booted, which is kind of weird. But back there is my old Nether portal. I've been using the book since all I've been doing in Nether lately has been around the gathering of lava. But I also have a spawner that's not too far away from the portal. So when I want to go collect some blaze rods, I'll go through there. Although we now have someone that has a level 5 shard, so if I need a blaze rods, I could potentially just go to them, but, you know, whatever. It's a tree farm with an old Steve cart, and he's got a standard coal engine. He's set up to cut wood. He could potentially be using fertilizer. I've been thinking about creating grabbing up a couple of world spawned spawner things, you know what I'm talking about, and harvesting bones, or maybe working on a shard, like maybe a level 4 shard, but I just haven't got around to doing that. And then I could potentially increase the output of this guy, but I don't need a lot of output. I'm not trying to make biofuel right now. I'm just storing a bunch of it up. The wood's helpful as well, although I'm not using it right now. I just figured I would get it done for when I do want to do a steam engine, potentially on liquid, and then in the future solids if I can't find enough oil. I had a really nice mega spout going right up on the back end of that wheat field. Ended up being something like 8 million buckets. And I did used to have my oil tanks over here, but I ended up moving it up underneath these guys, up underneath this, when I had some issues with the tanks. I lost about 1 million fuel in the process. I didn't feel good about spawning in a bunch of fuel. I just filled my oil tank and then left it at that. So I'm going to just quickly accidentally over harvested and then cooked my potatoes. So I don't have any potatoes. So I'm going to regen a couple of potato plants just by letting them grow and then breaking them and planting them all. Because potatoes are pretty good too. They're better than wheat. You could get up to 2 or 3 potatoes per plant, and then they're worth 3 food points a piece. So a bit better. Although you have to plant a potato to get a new potato plant, whereas the wheat will always be a piece of wheat, not seed. So yeah. So what else? That's the bulk of my machines. Here's the Steve Cart's cart builder. It's a little wacky because some mods I need to boost the this guy, the GUI scale, particularly the ticker table, and this guy I have to reduce the GUI for you to see it properly. I'm hoping I'll upgrade this guy so that I can tweak the cart later and maybe potentially make a wheat field. Put a harvester on my cart and have him harvest wheat. So I'm going to round to it. That'll be when I go maybe to, if I need a large amount of seed oil. I don't really need seed oil right now. So yeah, I'll be putting another, I should have I still have my pump. I still have, I'll be needing to make 2 liquid tesseracts. And then here's an aqueous accumulator, and then a combustion engine that will be running on oil when I go to set up. I should have a chunk loader too. Maybe I put that in the nether. So I'll make another chunk loader, and then a couple pipes or something, and a pair of ender tanks, and I'll have a remote setup to do some oil. Like I said, there was a spout right there, but there's also a really small spout there. There's also a pretty small spout there, and then in that direction, a little bit further towards my old base, which was just a hovel in the ground, the side of a mountain, about 180, 200 blocks away, I guess, something like that. There's another small spout, and then I think behind my place is another spout about close towards the edge. If you look at the map, close towards the edge of the ocean. So that's been my setup from this point. Here are my 9 solar panels. I just recently put some Wrath lights around. Oddly enough, this Wrath light used to be in the middle, and it prevented the cart from putting down saplings. I thought that was really odd. I wasn't sure it was that, but that's the only change I had made to the farm, and suddenly it wasn't dropping saplings in almost half, maybe a little more than half of the track. So I just picked it up and moved it, and suddenly he's laying saplings again. So if anyone's having a problem with your cart doing saplings and you're lighting your tree farm with a Wrath lamp, that's going to be your problem. So what else? I could show you. Did I just kill something? No. Okay, cool. Show you the. This is the hub. So we have a couple of people that are on the server. I'm just going to go by the tags. There's Zook user. Binary Inferno is not the name of the player. I think it's the name of the series. Tag the Advanced Gamers with a Z. This is the mining age that we're using. I crafted the age. It's kind of cool. The spawn point's not all that, but it does display what the age is about. It's a single biome, extreme hills, eternal day. So it's extreme hills means you're going to get emeralds. It's flat, so you have fewer trees. It's going to be easier to find silverwood and great oak trees because it's flat. We've got normal stars, normal moon, eternal day. So even though it's raining, it is eternally day. So you could run some solar panels or something here if you wanted to do more than just mine. You wanted to harvest, or you wanted a machine that drove over the top of the land and like, for instance, had mining wells. It is pretty high though. It's 180 down to bedrock. So you would be getting a lot of dirt and cobble and stuff. But if you filtered it out, then it'd be alright. But it would be running pretty slow. So that's why most of the people that have machines are going by my setup, which is just a bunch of block breakers. So we've got crystals. Crystals make these cool portals, and they're just out and about on the surface. So there's a lot here. We've also got dungeons, mine shafts, obelisks. That's, I think, these guys right there. ravines. You know what ravines are, strongholds. So there's potentially you can access the end from here, I guess. Bright, so there's very few spawns, especially on the surface. There's actually not very many spawns down underground either, but there are spawns in caves and stuff. It's flat, of course. Eternal rain, so it's always raining. I wanted to have it some instability, so I put it on charge. Just because I asked for a lot, but I wasn't greedy. I didn't put extra ores or anything like that, although I probably could have. So this age is good for mining machines, quarries, when you get it to the right level. Lightning rods, because it is charged and it is always raining, so there's always going to be lightning. It's probably potentially good for windmills and stuff like that too, because of the lightning and always raining would be good for electricity, windmills and whatnot. Mistcraft pages and crystals, because it's flat, you're going to find libraries, and since this is an age, you should find the Mistcraft libraries. Thumbcraft loot, because the surface is going to be very easy to find those Thumbcraft sites. And like I said, the oak wood and silverwood. Here's the spawn. It's a pretty basic spawn, just basic rule boards. And then another one of these boards that just shows who has a machine active and running. Tag actually do now. AMC doesn't right now. It's the spawn we were going to do. We're thinking of doing kind of a shop area. A couple guys decided they wanted to do it. Some said they didn't want to do it because a lot of people prefer bartering rather than a bunch of slot machines that are just going to trade if you're not online. But it seemed a bit too against being a community server, because you're not a community if you're just going to run to a building and put money into a machine or trade materials from a machine. Okay, and then there's me, there's AMC, and then there's Jax. Everyone's pretty much cool, although tags, I think like 4 people, and they sometimes have their own little internal drama, and they had some drama with some of the other guys. But they own the server, and the drama's just for fun, so yeah. Did have to do a world reset at one point because the fun got a little crazy, and then made it a bit difficult to get everything back to normal. But yeah, that's my base. That's the server's high points in the server. Some areas, machines, and all that. I don't. Let me talk about these guys. So the machine's putting out large amounts of cobblestone and sand and gravel. I didn't want it to sit in my my ME drives. Matter of fact, one of my ME drives is no longer full, which is kind of funny because that's because my machines are working to process some of the ore that's coming through. So I've got these deep storage units, and they have pretty much a near unlimited amount of storage. What do you mean by unlimited? Well, check the cobble. There's 2.3 million cobble in this deep storage unit. And it's way more than you could ever potentially fit in a barrel. The cool thing about these guys is you can pick them up like you would a barrel, or you can even break them and then put them down somewhere else, and they'll remember what's inside them. So that's pretty epic. So I figured if anyone needed a bunch of cobble, then I could just loan them the machine for a little bit. So yeah, but I have it for more than just the basic vanilla stuff. I've got for cobble, dirt, gravel, and sand, which I'm not getting a lot of, but I am making. I'm making sand when needed. I'll put some cobblestone in here, and it'll process the cobblestone for me. And then I've got other items as well that I get tons of. Lapis, Nicolite, redstone, coal, and we've got even more here. We've got the zirconium, pretty much all the different types of zirconium. Got aluminum, iron. Once it's processed out of there, it gets put over here. More zirconium. It's mainly zirconium over here. All 4 types, I think. Actually, I think it's 5 types. So that's the deep storage. I've been thinking about expanding it. For instance, give me a sec here. Sort by order. There's our 2.3 million cobblestone. The wood's getting up there because I've got that farm, and the oak saplings are getting up there. Those are the 2 that are very high quantities. I don't already have a deep storage unit for, although the silver is getting really high too. Anything over 10k, I start thinking about creating a deep storage unit for it. Not because 10k is really a lot of storage space wasted. It's just it gets it off of the drives. It frees up types on my drives and things like that. Also have the ability. I put a dark net ME cable thingy there. So if I want to detach my deep storage from the rest of my network, just flip this guy right here. It's pretty cool. Although he'll start storing, like for instance, the ingots that get processed will get stored on the drives instead while it's there, and I'll have to manually move it later. But I think that's pretty cool too. If I want to turn off everything and then just have a good look at what's on the storage drives and what's not, I can just flip that switch. So yeah, this area here I was just making. I was using some of these fences and some of the planks. My machine came across a mine shaft, and I just figured I would use it for some charcoal. Charcoal for this guy right here, blast furnace. You put charcoal down at the bottom, you can turn iron into steel. I don't have a huge need for steel right now, but I will have a use for steel when I go steam, with the steam boiler and steam engines. So whenever I get around to whenever I'm thinking about it, I'll make some more charcoal. I'll just take some wood out and some planks, and I'll just toss it in there. I'm not bothering about automating this because I don't think it's really necessary. And just creating some charcoal. And then steam and some other things that steel's involved with, along with a couple other things. There's a lot more I want to do. I haven't even touched GregTech yet. I was thinking about in the future, to get myself a little bit more room, I would expand this way and then come across just to make this one building slightly bigger, more squarish. And then I could break these guys into more defined rooms, and then have this room mainly for GregTech machines, because most of GregTech, some of the bigger, they've got bigger multi-block machines that I'll probably be making use of. And that's going to require a lot of EU, a lot more than I can get from a pumping lava. I might work on getting some saplings going, increase the size of this farm, bring the track out that way some, and then maybe push it that way a little bit, and get a decent enough saplings to run a biogenerator, which will take biofuel and turn it into EU. Some of the tag guys have that, although they really don't need it. It got me thinking that it would definitely be something nice to have without needing to go to solar panels, which with GregTech is a really difficult thing to do. Although it would be nice to try and do, and I might eventually get to it. I just don't want to try to do it early on. So I might expand out and then really get into GregTech in the future. So that's some of my plans, and that's the base as it sits right now. Having lots of fun in the Twilight Zone. I'm probably going to do a couple more episodes. All the cool dungeons and stuff you can find in Twilight. I kind of did. The Nether's kind of old hat for just about anyone that's played Minecraft, even vanilla. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff out there. And I've done some of the Mistcraft sites. There's not too many Mystcraft sites, and I've kind of covered them all. But Twilight Force is huge in comparison. I haven't done any Thumbcraft yet. Most of it is research, and then there's of course the crafting of stuff. And the research stuff is not something I don't know if I want to record. I mean, I'll show you guys some of the completed items, what I could potentially build with Mystcraft, but in the process of creating Mystcraft, you basically create a guide for anyone that wants to do it, to bypass the actual learning process of doing Mystcraft. And to me, Mystcraft is fun. The research is actually fun because it's very logical in how they do the research. What type of items are required to do the research based on what kind of thing item that you're researching. So it's a really cool mini game that's in a game. There's a couple other mini games that are in a game when it comes to Minecraft that I haven't tried. I haven't tried to do trees, where you can craft specialty trees or bees or anything like that. So those will be things in the future I'll be looking to cover as well, not just Greg Tech and some other things, but bees too. Not big bee thing. I don't know how fun bees are going to be because I haven't tried it. I don't think it's going to be something I like, but you never know. I didn't think I would like Thumbcraft as much as I did. Well, particularly the researching part was fun. I'm still trying to. I haven't learned how to do the golems or anything. So anything I do with golems and automating Thumbcraft is going to be new to me. So you'll learn Thumbcraft the same time I do. You'll learn Greg Tech same time I do, and I'm just doing the Twilight Forest for the first time. So you guys are going through that with me for the first time, along with me. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. And I want to say, if you've been watching the episodes up to now, thanks for watching. And if this video was helpful, interesting, or entertaining, watch the series. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching an episode of my Feed the Beast Ultimate video series. If you had any questions, comments, or ideas about what went on in the video, then please leave me some feedback in the comment section below. Also, if the video was helpful, useful, or entertaining to you, then please like the video. If you did find this episode entertaining, then feel free to visit my YouTube channel and find the Feed the Beast Ultimate playlist to watch other videos. And subscribe while you're there so you know when the next video is available. See you next time.